Whoa, I'm Chad Nash, and I'm with NashTech. At NashTech, we created a trading bot to enter and exit the market with the best settings, so that the bot can trade on your behalf and you can get your time back. Stop letting the big Wall Street guys win while you're stuck trading manually with emotion. Do you ever find yourself trading and then suddenly realize that you're changing your stop losses and your targets, or you start to get emotional and maybe enter at the wrong times when you know you shouldn't? Well, we understand that because we've been there. And with 15 years of software experience and several years of day trading experience, we created the perfect bot for this situation. Epic Squeeze will trigger the best optimized squeeze pattern with fast algo trading to enter or exit the market and be ahead of the crowd so that you can get your time back. Today's tutorial will be on Epic Squeeze. Epic Squeeze is a volatility and momentum indicator. It was originally developed by John Carter with Simpler Trading. I encourage you to check out. He's got a lot of resources on this. It's also been called the TTM Squeeze with Thinkorswim. There's a lot of different videos, but he's the original creator. Wanted to give credit to him for that. It's based on Bollinger Bands and Keltner Channels and a momentum indicator too. So there's a couple different parts to this setup, and I do want to explore and kind of discuss those as we go into it. But for now, we'll get into all that stuff. For now, just know there's a lot of other resources about this strategy out there. So before we get started here, just keep in mind, as a quick disclaimer, we are not directly affiliated with NinjaTrader. We are a third-party vendor, and we build on top of that platform. But we're not directly affiliated. They do not endorse our products. It's a separate company. Just want to make sure that we make that clear. Need to add a disclaimer here. Let's move forward now with the setup. So there are a lot of great things to love about Epic Squeeze. It works on many different time frames. Sometimes it works on daily time frames too, usually for options traders. But for algo trading, it's definitely great for intraday. We're going to go into all of the different pieces of this setup here in a second. But it works with many different instruments. It's great for scalping at different time frames. 5, 15 minute are very common for this. But you know, I would go with whatever back tests the best, and with live trading and different instruments, I would go with, you know, whatever works out the best. But it's a great strategy. Okay, so today is July 18th, 2021. We believe the summer is continuing with craziness, and the Nasdaq's at all new highs. Things are going well. COVID, we believe, is over. That's good. Okay. I wanted to discuss, if you've checked out any of our other videos with Epic Bid, Epic Profits, any of the other indicators and strategies with Epic Collection, you will know that we like, well, in the other videos, I really like to show the setups and show what's creating those setups. All of our strategies are built towards algo trading. So it is our intention to build these setups with all the different options for you to be able to algo trade. With that being said, when you initially start with the setups, I think it's important to understand what they're doing and what they're built around and the fundamentals around them. Not really fundamentals, the technicals around them, really. And so that you get an understanding of what they're doing. And then after you visually see it, you also get a better understanding on different instruments of what your profit targets, your stop losses might be, especially on different time frames and things like that. So with that, let's just go ahead and get into the setup of this. As I said, this setup, it's based really on 3 different additional indicators that you don't necessarily need to understand, but they are part of what creates the squeeze. And again, there's lots of different videos on the, you know, look up Google TTM Squeeze or Bollinger Squeeze, look up Simpler Trading again, And there's lots of different videos on the squeeze pattern and the strategy. But what that pattern is based on and what Epic Squeeze is based on three specific different indicators that are the Bollinger Bands, the Keltner Channels, and the momentum with momentum oscillator. So I've just added three quick indicators here. Bollinger, the Keltner, and the momentum. So a squeeze is really happening. We're looking at a chart here of the MNQ. Again, where it's a Sunday night, so this was probably Friday. But the bottom indicator here is the momentum. So we have momentum high, but we also have the Keltner channel, and the Bollinger Bands are outside of the Keltner channel. And that's the most basic setup of a squeeze. It's a consolidation pattern at that point. And when you break the consolidation pattern, which is happening here, and I guess it's also happening here, then you are using this as your basis for consolidation. You're going out of consolidation period. So that's the most basic level of consolidation in terms of, you know, what this is about, what the squeeze is about. You're squeezed in a consolidation period. So which direction do you go after the squeeze? Well, that's what the momentum indicator here and the oscillator, which we'll show you here in a second. So we're going south. We're going short. Here, according to this chart and this setup, it's also the same here. It would be right around where my mouse is at here. So now you don't need to, again, you don't need to have any of these indicators or anything like that to the chart. I just want to show you what the setup is about. Now, let's add Epic Squeeze. For algo trading, you don't even really need to have Epic Squeeze on the chart. But, I mean, you know, you just need the strategy. So, Epic Squeeze. But let's just compare, and I want to get a good understanding of what's going on here so that when you see Epic Squeeze, which is all you really need, you understand why and what's triggering it is those three other indicators. So we do have different setups for strict, which is when that crosses, the Bollinger Bands expand. It's then going to go in the direction of the momentum. But there's also more relaxed setups that can sometimes test out better if the histogram is rising or falling. A more relaxed setup. So we're just going to go with strict at the moment. Are well, white dots is not necessarily, you know, you're not in the squeeze because the Bollinger Bands have exited here, right? So you're not in a squeeze there. You exited. This was one here. That was a trigger because you were in a squeeze. 1, 2, 3 dots. So this is Epic Squeeze. It's showing you, again, what's representing the squeeze. The Keltner channels are inside. What's popping the squeeze? What's exploding the squeeze? When they expand out. The Bollinger Bands are now outside. Make sure that I'm saying that right. I think so. Yeah, so, again, down here. When did this trigger? Because it's great to paint nice, fun stuff, but after the fact, after a bar closes, right? How sick of you at seeing that, right? When your indicators, historically, it's so easy to see. This happened around right here. That's where it crossed over on this side, crossed over right here too. Again, you don't need these on your chart, but it's nice to see what's triggering this white dot here. It's the bar right after that happened. And where was the momentum? Down, right? It was low. So we went short. Same over here. Momentum was below zero. We went short. And we had just left the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. And as they expanded out, it entered. The crossover was here. So that's the setup for this. Is it always right? Of course not. It's like anything else. But that's the setup for this. Here was another setup. This was, I don't know, what would have stopped out for me, depending on where you put your stop loss. You're in a squeeze here. So how do you know you're in a squeeze? You see the red dots down here, and this is epic squeeze. So when do you get out? When it expands out on both sides. First one over here. This would have been a great setup here. You're in a squeeze, consolidation period. Momentum is increasing, and this is where the oscillator down here is going up. So that's why you don't need momentum. You've got everything down here. Everything you see in epic squeeze here is represented from these other three indicators. So you don't need them on your charts. But that's what's creating the white dots or the red dots. So let's remove those. And we're just using defaults for all of these, by the way. So now what do we have? Well, here's where the order triggered because of those bands and because the momentum was going long. That's where it triggered. Great entry. Consolidation period, ending consolidation period. Now, why do I love this? Because in a lot of other indicators and a lot of other strategies, you see it here. Well, the play's already done. I mean, it's not done, but come on. That's quite a bit of ticks. So here, even if you did enter the bar after, you're still breaking out of the consolidation period and you still have a good entry. With Strategy Analyzer, we'll go into this in a second, and with other things, you could use tick replay. I like to use live sim accounts, market replay. The thing is, you don't get a ton of these setups. This is not this isn't algo trading all the time. Maybe you're getting three trades per day. Maybe you're getting 5 trades per day. Maybe you're getting 1 trade per day. Certainly depends on your instrument. Certainly depends on the time frame. But that's why I like to use live sim accounts. We'll go into some of the strategy setup and strategy analyzer, but the entry is not necessarily happening. And don't trust when strategy analyzer says it's happening. Don't trust any of the other resources except for what's really happening on a live account. So trade with ease. Okay, so be cautious. Depending on what I do like about this too with scalping, it's great for scalping. I suggest using it for scalping where you're basing your profit and target. Your profit target and your stop loss based on the time frame. Okay, what are you expecting to get? How many ticks are you expecting to get out of a 5-minute time frame? Don't shoot for the moon on a 5-minute time frame. Okay, I mean this is used the epic squeeze indicator and the squeeze strategy. It's really used for options on days where you're looking at the day as far as the chart is concerned. So you're looking to in terms of options. That's not what we specialize in, but for 5 minutes, don't look at this for such a high profit. Look for it as a scalp. That's a great scalp right here. Usually, you'll get about 8 bars, about average 6 to 8 bars of something great that comes from the squeeze setup. Whether you're looking at days or whether you're looking at a 5-minute or a 15-minute, you determine what that really is to you in terms of when you get out. Our strategies has something that's great built in that says exit after X bars. So right away, you either set your stop loss to break even after the first bar if you want, or the last bar high low for your stop loss, because this is a scalping setup on a 5-minute chart. And then you set your target 3 bars later, 4 bars later. If it did not really squeeze itself out, it's a quick stop loss. No big deal. That's what would have happened here, right? You could have set your, on entry, set your stop loss here. You would have stopped out, but, it wouldn't have been a huge loss. your real gains would have come right away. If you exited, as suggested, after 3 or 4 bars, you would have stopped out here, or you would have exited here, but it wouldn't have been at much of a loss at all. So you don't have to really worry about your stop loss when you're already set to exit after X bars. And we will get into that here in a second with, again, here too. Okay, you would have exited, maybe a little bit of profit, not really, but minimal loss, very minimal, minimal risk. And that's what I like. It's great for scalping. Again here, nice trigger, exited consolidation period, which was here. You don't have to, we're not looking at Fibonacci levels and pivots, all that stuff. It's a great entry. After, X amount of bars, exit. 8 bars maximum is what I would go for on this. Or we have setups for ongoing stop loss from the last bar high low. You would have exited out a little bit too early, but it keeps your money management is number one, number one key. Okay. When it comes to Strategy Analyzer, and going and enabling your strategy, we've already covered a lot of videos, maybe not a lot, a few, with Epic Bid and Epic Profits and some of the others, and those cover how to work with Strategy Analyzer, market replay, tick replay, things like that. And let me just close this out. I don't know why this is doing this to me. All right. So I encourage you to check out all of those videos because we also have templates. If you're downloading the trial of any of the Epic collection or Epic products, we have templates for about 30 days or older. If you are a subscriber or lifetime license holder, we try to update templates about every 2 weeks. You go to nashtech.xyz/templates, and from there, you download those. There's some instructions on how to get them inside of NinjaTrader, but that's the basics. All right, so looking at this, let's just cover 2 or 3 quick points that I want to cover and drill into your head on every single time I open Strategy Analyzer. One is how awesome that you can do optimization or backtest on not just one instrument, but on an entire collection of instruments. So under instruments, instead of selecting the instrument, you select the group and you select all. Okay? Next point that I love to point out, because it's something I didn't know. I stare at the screen all the time. Right click, show log. What does that do? Well, maybe your NinjaTrader closed. Has that ever happened to you? Probably. Maybe during optimization it locked up. Has that ever happened to you? Maybe. All right. So NinjaTrader does a great job with keeping all the logs in here. So you can just load these up, and even if you didn't save any templates, all of them. So you can now right click in here, filter by strategy, Epic Squeeze, filter by instrument. Maybe you only trade the MNQ, maybe you only trade the NQ. Now you can get these. Okay? Sort by profit target. You can pin them. You can export them. Do some other studies on them. Things like that. So if you're not familiar with show log, I encourage you to check that feature out. All right, so I had run this last night. We have some nice high performance computing here at NasTech, and I'm not using tick replay. I'm not using anything too crazy. I honestly think that these strategies will test out and do much better with tick replay because the entries are for scalping, and those entries are usually intra-bar. You can get around that a bit by not using tick replay, but by using historical fill processing. Set that not from standard, but set that to something like, I don't know, 1 minute, 1 second, 1 tick. Okay, you will find that that will also give you a little bit better understanding. There are so many topics on historical fill processing, tick replay, market replay. There's so many, when it enters, when it exits, how close the sim account live is to how close live trading is. Don't believe anything. Okay, just if your money management is number one, and that is your objective primarily, then don't trust these other things showing you a green chart. They're great for starting to set up with what your setup should be and what the value should be for your confirmation, for the setup and for the profit target, the stop loss, things like that. They are great, but don't trust anything until it's live and it's trading for you for a while. As I say that, it is where you start though. You start with strategy analyzer, market replay. You start with live sim accounts, and that's kind of how you narrow down where and how much risk you want to put going live. We're going to do a bunch of videos here coming up on that subject, which is from starting strategy ideas to actually going live, what that process is. And this is part of that process, strategy analyzer. So when this ran, again, look how great this is. We got all of these different instruments: MNQ, gold, NASDAQ, MES, ES, the YM. We got all of these just by running the optimization, because we chose all futures instead of choosing one. Okay, now we can go in and load each one. First of all, I'm happy with this, the fact that all of these are showing up above 1 in profit factor for all of the different instruments. Things that I would never ever take live, something with 4 trades, right? I wouldn't take that live. I like to look at setups that have at least 20 trades, and from there, I don't know. It kind of depends on the setup. It can be 20% profitable if the target's so high that it's overall extremely profitable. But in terms of total number of trades, very important. I like to look for something at least over 20 before I even look further into it. Anything with a profit factor of, I don't know, over 3 to 4, I highly am skeptical of. So of course you have a profit factor of 9 here. First thing that rings a bell, total number of trades was 5, right? Not the greatest setup. Of course it's a low drawdown, but you had 5 trades. Now we're looking at about a month and a half here. Another thing I like to look at, which we'll do here in a second, we're looking at a month and a half. Not a bad time frame to look at, but of course if we move this to be January 1st, I'd like to see that still in the green. All right, so next, I'm sorting by profit factor now. 6B, 6C, ES. That's pretty good. I prefer, from my experience, especially turning this live, I don't mind profit factors anywhere above 1.5, even 1.3 to 2, because sometimes they're more realistic than a profit factor that's showing 6 or 7. So something like this on the ES, 82 trades, 1.96 profit factor, I like that. All right, so I've opened a bunch of these up in the tabs below. To open up these in different tabs and then to save them in templates, I just want to show you guys how to do that. Right click, open in strategy analyzer tab, and then once it's open, you will save it, and then later you can load it. You need to load it later when you're actually going live, or you want to see it on a sim account, or you want to come back in here and not lose the settings. We'll discuss the settings here in a second. Just talking about templates for a second. Again, we have these available if you are a registered subscriber at nashtech.xyz. They are free, of course, for a lifetime, or if you're part of a subscription. Otherwise, they are available for backtesting. They're about 30 days usually old or no. And you don't need, to be clear, you don't need any of these templates, but they just help with the settings. Because, you know, the one we're looking at on the ES, it's in parentheses. We had a consecutive, for this is an optimization. So it was trying out consecutive squeeze, which means you don't enter unless you've had X amount of dots in the squeeze. We set it from 1 to 5. This particular setup is a 3. Momentum, 25. This was 5 to 20. I'm sorry, 20 to 50 in increments of 5. It tested out best with Strategy Analyzer at 25. So, again, you do not need these, but they do help. Profit target of 45 is likely not the profit target for the MNQ. Let's just go to the MNQ real quick. Okay. Profit target on the MNQ was 25. Wow, it's actually quite surprising. This was definitely more of a scalp. That's why we had 150 trades on the MNQ. 76% profitable. That stands out to me. I care about this number and this number. This would not stand out to me actually if the number of trades, well, I don't know. 76 is good. I would leave that. I would enable that on a live sim account. Okay. So we've got gold. I like this because it's running on multiple different instruments. This was the MNQ. I think the MNQ from an equity curve standpoint was next. Well, actually, maybe not. This kind of equity curve, I don't know. It's okay. It's great. We like to see green, right? But my preference, well, sorry. My preference would be something like this, right? You got a month and a half of day. Actually, this is back in May, so it's 2.5 months, and maybe it's a little slow, but it's green. I would prefer this compared to what we just looked at, because whatever happened on a couple of those trades, I love it. It's great. It's going out to dinner money, okay? But in general, I would prefer a little bit less action and a little bit stronger overall curve there. This is the curve here on the ZS. A little choppy, still green. Again, not my favorite. This is on the ZN. I would definitely set this in a sim account. It seems bold and it has pretty low risk in terms of what Strategy Analyzer is telling us. This is where I would probably want to see something like this is the ZB. I'd want to see this live because I don't know. I don't trust Strategy Analyzer and what it's saying because this is an intra-bar setup. This is a scalp setup. I think it would perform better oftentimes than on bar close because the entry should, in theory, work out better with intra-bar type setups. This is not using faster historical fill, things like that. The YM, I don't know. I'd test it out. It looks pretty low risk in terms of the rewards here, but next, this is the RTY. RTY. So what's standing out here? I keep doing that. Sorry, guys. Again, seems pretty low risk. Sure. Why not? Why? Because we've got 40 trades. Depends on your risk level at this kind of stage for this setup. That's a pretty big max drawdown for what I would normally want. There's too many other good setups with this. The MQ and the MES actually looks really good. This looks pretty decent. Look at that risk reward there. Look at this max drawdown 650, net profit 4,800, 100 trades, 99 trades, 75% profitable. This is the NQ, so not the MNQ. Trades pretty well, like this equity curve. Dips don't seem too bad. If I saw this, let's just change this real quick. Add a month. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm not doing this just to... Could be bad. But let's look. Okay, there we are. We added a month to backtesting from the 5th of May. Took a dip here. We really did take a dip here, so that's worth noting. But pretty strong. That's on the NQ. Probably went down in terms of profit factor a bit. But look at that. 169 trades. 2.5 months. Almost that's 1.75 profit factor. It's a pretty good risk to reward. 7K, 800 loss in max drawdown. I like it. So the squeeze is great. Let's move it on. This is the MYM. Probably going to be pretty small in terms of both. Yeah, max drawdown $52. This is a great for entry-level traders, I think. Especially entry-level algo. Keep it pretty minimal. Small contracts, costs. These are all one contract, by the way. Keep on moving. Same type of max drawdown as we had on the NQ. This is gold. Let's see what this... I like this. I like the equity curve on that. It's on a 5-minute chart of gold. Let's see if it plays as well with... Okay. Not the greatest, actually. That kind of did not look good throughout May. It picked up. Let's see how many trades we're looking at. Long term, great. Short term, better have some equity there for the drawdown. And I would test this out on a live sim for a few months before I ever enabled it live. All right. Moving on. Here's the MES. Again, great micro, $100 max drawdown. I bet you it's similar to the ES. They don't always trade the same, by the way. A lot of our setups trade great on the ES and not MES, the other way around. I like that. It's okay. It's a little choppy. It's okay. 83 trades, 54% profitable. Pretty low setup here. I did not include commission, and that could make a big difference. So I don't know about that. I'll have to add that in. Wouldn't be as good when adding commission. I'm sure it's still good. It's okay. Well, not sure. And again, don't take these results as it's not just a historical, it's not just a disclaimer that this is not historical reference to that. Okay? There's more to it than that. It's when it's entering and exiting on a scalping setup, you cannot trust the results of any system, really, to be honest. So we'll move forward. We are now FDEX. Okay. Not bad. ES. No surprise there with how the MES performed. I like it. I really like it. I like that most things don't trade great on the NQ and the ES sometimes. And this is the ES. Really good. 82 trades. So, any other tips for this before we move on? Sure. I like to look at where my worst trades are in these. Okay, this is the 6E. So, how do you do that? You go to trades, The reason you want to do this is because you're going to start to look at other setups as far as the timing. You know, there are features inside of NinjaTrader with Epic Squeeze setup. So, you know, you can have trailing stop. Profit loss can be a recent high low. You can wait 3 bars before the next possible entry. You can exit if there's a really high bottoming tail or topping tail. Your stop loss could be trailing stop. Things like that. So there are features in here, and also there's features to only enter during certain time periods. So when those are enabled, you can enable it to wait X bars from trading day, only trade in the higher time frame. That's a great feature. First higher time frame or second. Those are going to help with your setups sometimes. Market versus limit orders, things like that. So you can configure and change all of these. I don't necessarily know. Well, profit target, stop loss are definitely things you want to optimize. But beyond that, we had Epic Tail enabled. So you actually see Epic Tail. We exited a lot of these trades from that tail. If there was a high wick, we exited from a previous bar. And I bet you, I don't know, but I bet you if we were to disable that, we do not get the same results. So you would go to summary, trades. I would then sort by, maybe we'll get great results, who knows. I would then sort by your worst trades. Yeah, didn't work out so well. We had some good exits with that enabled. So go to the chart. Go to the trades. Sort by your worst. Wow, that's a big one. All right, so this date was 7/8/20. I'm assuming 2021. I'm assuming, yeah, 2021. So 7/8/2021. You go to the chart. You see if there's some way that you would have been able to avoid that. So another feature I like to use, show data box. This is going to show you interesting facts about the setup. Sometimes we plot things. So this up here shows the date. So that's 7/15. We go to, that was 7/8. Wow, that was a big one. So, oh, that's a big one. Likely, if you were looking at high wicks, I don't know in that case. It's hard to know without comparing it, but we would not have entered long with the exit tail when there was a topping tail like that. It's a sign of weakness, right? So as you review these, modify your settings and see, is there something, the same thing? Are we going to enter long after a topping tail? Those setups and just a couple trades. Usually the problem is not 10 or 15. Usually the problem is not 80%, even 90% of the trades that you have, even losses. It's usually just like 10% that really kill you. So if you can sort of knock those out, that will help. Okay, so again, thank you. I appreciate your time. If you have questions, please reach out to us, www.nashtech.xyz/contact. You can download a free trial. The link is here in the video. Also, check out the templates. If you have a custom bot or idea, strategy that you would like us to code for you, we do it all the time. It's not even that expensive. We've done so many of these, and love to be there to help you out. So, thank you. Talk soon.